So let's get into our topic of today, episode 1, why are we here? And let's just talk about our mom and at what point she is right now, so we get some relevance and you can kind of gauge where we're at and how far down the road we are. So Diane, how's mom doing?
Currently, mom is in a memory care facility that is technically an assisted living facility. She has been experiencing Alzheimer's symptoms probably since approximately 2014, when it first started with the repeating herself and some short-term memory issues. I think that I lost it.
It's all right.
I think I lost it.
So I saw mom yesterday.
That's where I was going.
Yeah, she's not doing great. It's very sad to say that, but things are challenging and getting progressively worse this time. I think if we had to put her in a category, late, intermediate to getting into the severe stage. Is that what you'd say?
I think that mom is having difficulty communicating. For a long time now, there hasn't been any intelligible words. I don't think she understands what we're saying to her. She definitely has some difficulty seeing and reaching for things that aren't there.
That perception is way off. Yeah.
And in the last week or so, she's fallen a number of times and is currently in a wheelchair and is having some difficulty eating. So we're struggling right now with, okay, what does all this mean? Is this something she's going to kind of bounce back from because it's fall related? Or, is this a serious decline? Because it's been a number of years that she's been struggling with this disease. So.
Yeah, let's talk about that. You and I have a little bit different perspectives on where she is, and it seems like if we can look back. So, did you say it was 2014 or 2017? 2014.
That's my guess in terms of when she very first started to have some short-term memory issues, and maybe more towards 15. But yeah, and there was definitely a couple of years there where she was doing some unusual things and asking us the same questions a lot, like, well, how are you doing? And then asking that question again.
Can I get you something to eat?
Right, can I get you something to eat? And then
those would repeat every 5 minutes.
And then there was a few holidays where we had some odd combinations of meals. And
Yep.
that
Dad compensating for her.
Right, or Dad was compensating, or the meals that she would come up with were just things that didn't quite go together, and certainly weren't the holiday meals that we'd had in the past. So there was definitely some confusion and some short-term memory issues going on for a number of years before 2017, when we kind of had a little bit of a catastrophic.
That was the event, the 2017. We have a significant event that tells us this is when it all went down. So, all right, that was 2017. But yeah, 2014 was the symptoms, the brief minor symptoms that nobody was really recognizing as anything that was real, but we probably should have paid more attention.
Well, and the times we talked to Dad about it, he was very much in denial. He didn't want it to be true. He didn't want to see it. I'm sure he was encountering it all the time, especially once some of the repeating of questions started. But he did not want to deal with that and didn't want to engage in that conversation with either one of us. So,
well, let's take it back to today, right? So Sunday, what is today? Today's Tuesday. Today's Monday,
Today's
right?
Monday, yes.
See, every time I do that, I
yesterday,
get paranoid that I've got it. But yeah, so she did fall a couple times, and
twice in the last 2 weeks.
It's so bad when she falls because she isn't in a position where she's quick quick to catch herself, so boom, she just hits, and she gets big bruises on her cheek and her head, and actually those were looking better. So it's been a couple days, and she's been healing a little bit. So I was a little pleased with those, but I mean,
it's probably been over a week.
it's probably okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's probably
maybe longer than that. But then she kind of fell again in between. So
yeah. So I mean, there could be concussion type issues and things like that. We don't know, but she
got checked out, and they say no.
Yeah, but you fell and you hit your head twice within probably a month or month and a half or so. But what you can see from her is like a sine wave. She'll do pretty good and will stable off at a status quo for her, which still is non-verbal for us to understand. She loves to talk. She rattles on and she'll sing and things like that. But it's not anything that you can pick a word out and say, hey, she's singing the gospel, or she's singing this or that, or she's telling me about an event when she was 6 years old. That doesn't happen. It's just she has these little phrases that she uses and says, and they honestly don't make any sense to us. But I feel like she's trying to tell us something. I feel like she comprehends enough, and I feel like I can communicate with her on some level, right? So I wouldn't say that that's non-existent. I feel like we have a good time. When I get to see her, I know she's there. When I say good time, I can get her to sing with me, and I can get her to laugh with me. And a lot of times I walk out of there and my cheeks are sore because we're laughing. And, I just come in with love for her and just, not any expectations, and see what I can do. But, and so we see these waves over the years. She would do pretty well, and then she would decline and maybe not eat for a couple of days, and she would sleep for a week or so, and it was just kind of challenging because then you never know if she's going to come back. But then we've seen a bounce back, and now she's in one of those declines, and we're really nervous because it's been a long time, and she isn't quite bouncing back as fast. She fell, and now she's not really overly interested in eating, and so we're struggling a little, and we're super nervous and scared from that perspective.
Yeah, and I'm not sure that she can eat right now. I'm not sure that she can feed herself anymore, and that brings up the thought of, okay, does that mean she needs different care than she can get from the facility that she's at, or do they need to do something differently in terms of feeding her, or possibly, rather than giving her finger food, which is where she had been at, possibly giving her some soft foods. And those kind of decisions are challenging because not only is there Stephen and I trying to help facilitate her care, but most of that is facilitated by my dad, and sometimes he still, and I think he knows it these days, he still has some denial over where she's at, and he really a lot doesn't want to see a decline right now. So the eating thing is a struggle right now, because I kind of feel very much like they need to do something different, and he's kind of waiting to see, and that is challenging.
Mm-hmm. He has been pretty smart in the sense that if she can't eat her finger foods and she's not being very successful with that, he's been taking Ensure shakes with all the vitamins and minerals, and we can usually get her to drink that. Yeah. And so at least we get some content in her, and that's promising. So he was successful in that yesterday. They did, they had a weird dinner yesterday, and we weren't even interested in it. So that was a struggle. It wasn't even finger foods. It was like a chopped up half taco salad thing, and it really wasn't. Nobody would want to eat that, but we did get Ensure in her, and that was good. So we're happy about that. But she was like falling asleep, and they get her up so early. Like they get her up at 5 so that they can get all the residents up, and then they try to tuck them all in by 7. So it's a strange dynamic. So when we show up, and I like to get there a little bit before dinner. I like to engage her and work on her. I do some treatment with her a little bit on my end, which maybe we'll get into in another episode someday. But, just spend some time with her from 3:30 to about 4:30 when they feed her, and then she's starting to get a little sleepy at 4:30 already, but then they eat, and then right after they eat, she might get another walk around, or they might wheelchair her around or something, and then that's about it. She's pretty much done for the night, and she's asleep. So,
and one of the reasons we're a little worried right now is because she hasn't bounced back to walking around. Walking around has been something that's been very good for her, and something that's been very consistent during her Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
She has sundowners and often would walk at nighttime. But since she fell, she seems to have gotten weaker and weaker, and I think because she's not eating quite as much also.
Mm-hmm.
And she hasn't really gotten back out of the wheelchair to do any walking.
I get a sense, I work at a hospital, so I know lifting and I know patient caregiving, and I get a sense that she's scared. She's scared of her own stability to stand up and to walk. Because I will stand her up and she won't straighten her back up and she'll shake. But then I say, I have this little trick with her. I say, okay, if you stand up, you know what the rule is, you gotta give me a hug. So she gives me a hug and I hug her, and when she does that, I kind of straighten her back out a little bit, and then she's standing. And then her weight and her balance are over her feet, and I feel like she's stronger and more confident then. And then we hold hands, and Dad will hold hands on the other side, and we will walk. But now she's in this wheelchair. We haven't tested it in a week or so since the fall. So she is on hospice, on and off it seems like, but she's currently on hospice right now. And I'm trying to engage those nurses just to see how much should we try this, and I'm trying to be a little yielding to the caregiver's suggestions and at that point in time. But that's kind of where we're at. If I can engage her and I can get her eye contact and she sees me, she usually gives me a smile, and she usually gives me a little song, and like she'll sing, not words, but she'll throw a nice vocal hymn out there.
Those are the best days, because
Yeah.
that there's some connection, that she somehow is seeing us and knowing that, hey, here's some people who I'm happy to see. And
Yeah.
I'm just going to sing, even if it's
Yep.
not actual words or an actual song, but there's some singing, and those are really good visit days. But since she fell, there hasn't, I haven't encountered that, and she doesn't seem like she's quite as there as much as she was before, and that's making us a little sad.
Yeah. Speaking of sad, she also, and you might encounter this out there, she's on an emotional roller coaster. You are sitting with her and talking with her, and she's laughing and smiling and singing, and all of a sudden she turns and it looks like she's crying, and she's sad, and it's almost like a multi-personality just coming in and out, and I don't know if it's hormones or what's going on, but she does go from happy to a sad and to
Sometimes
confused
angry
and sometimes angry. But actually, when she gets angry, I just look at her and I say, "Are you talking to me? Are you saying that to me?" And then we just kind of stop and look at each other for a second, and then we both laugh, and it's kind of entertaining. But then she'll go and start blabbering on about stuff in her way, talking, but we can't understand it, so it becomes a blabber, one of those. And
it's hard to describe.
Yeah, and but she gets into these stories, like she's trying to tell us something, and she has, it's almost like she's telling me about her whole day, and said, oh, this happened and that happened and this, and I didn't feel comfortable here, or I felt good there, or they finally got some good food today, or I like that drink, and it just feels like that's the kind of conversation that we're having. Or she'll say, why are we here? And I don't know why I'm here. Where's my mom and dad? Or why won't you take me out of here? And I feel like sometimes those things just come up, and she never says them, but I feel like that's where the emotion goes or comes from, and it's really interesting just just to sit with her for half an hour or an hour, and just the emotional roller coaster that she goes through, and how much you can pull her back if you can just feel and give her love and just pull that in and out. So very interesting, and kind of a struggle on both parts, I think.
It's a bit of an emotional roller coaster for me too when I go to visit, to watch her struggle with understanding and watch her struggle with communicating, and to feel the emotional roller coaster that she's going through. And you know, it's very different having her be cared for by other people.
Yeah.
You know, that unfortunately that started during COVID, and it was very difficult to, you know, we weren't always allowed to visit, and you know, my dad could no longer care for her at home, and you know, having that started during COVID was very hard. And then even now, when you know, we can come and go whenever we want to visit her, is still difficult in knowing and watching all the different things that she's going through, and knowing that she's going through them, you know, not at her home.
Alone, yeah.
And yeah, even though, you know, I mean, my dad goes to visit her every day.
Every day.
Every single day, yeah.
Yep.
And we're really proud of him for that.
Yeah.
And I know she is there alone sometimes, and that's hard.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you feel for her, and you wonder what she can understand, and what she's thinking, and how she's feeling during all that time, and you know, how she's feeling about being there, or if she even comprehends that, or the Alzheimer gets in the way of that. So.
Right. So that's our journey. That's where Mom's at now. That's where we're at now. And, you know, I think we're going to deep dive into this journey and talk about how it all started, and try to relive that nightmare, and share it with you a little bit, so that hopefully you can start to say, wow, they went through that. That's what I'm doing. This was what they did and had some success eventually. So maybe you can get that success with your loved one as well. But it's been...
And maybe it'll be cathartic for us
to
actually get this out and talk about it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Get rid of that negative energy and see
Yeah.
what we can do.
Yeah, because it's just been, we've kind of been in survival mode for a while now.
Yeah.
And
But, you know, so that's where Mom's at now. But our mom, she's one of my favorite people in the world, I think.
Oh, yeah.
She's
I miss talking to her.
Yeah. She was always great to talk to, and just so loving and caring, and I've got kids, and Diane's got kids, and she was there and able to play with them and help them when they were little and they were growing up.
I still want to call her and tell her what they're doing, and I
Oh,
still
right.
tell her, even though
Yeah.
I'm not sure she's understanding. I still tell her even what the dogs are doing. Sometimes
Yeah.
I take the dog to see her.
Yep. So, but she was great, and she was pretty social.
Yes,
and
she is.
well, I'm just
I know.
her current condition.
Right.
She
Contrasting.
is wonderful, but right. So back growing up, she was a wonderful, supporting mom, and always there for us, and very loving, and you know, we were happy growing up with that. So and she seemed to have a pretty good life. I think, you know, everybody kind of gave her some love back and all that, and it's just a shame that something like this should happen to such an incredible lady. So with that, I think we are going to take you down this journey with us. So if you're interested in our story and you're experiencing something similar, come on, grab our hand.
Let's
and
share.
Just go down this path together, and give us some feedback if you see this, social media, DM us, or maybe we'll get an email out there sometime, or
just
website
comment.
set up. Yeah, we're looking for comments.
Yeah, write in the comments.
And what are you interested in seeing? What are you struggling with? If we have an answer, we'll bring it your way, and we'll try to consult some other people. Maybe we'll get some guest speakers on the show. Maybe we'll go see Mom and get her on. Maybe we'll bring Dad on. Maybe we'll get a dog on, I don't know.
Part of our journey has definitely been trying to figure out how best to support our dad in all of this as well. And how to take care of him and help him take care of himself, which, you know.
That'll be about 10 episodes.
Yeah, that may be, that may be. Because that has been an interesting journey, and I don't think he was quite prepared to take care of himself just yet.
No.
So.
No. Anyway, we don't
Come
leave
with
it
us.
on a negative note, but we're certainly trying to move down this path in a positive way, but it is a struggle, it is a challenge. But we have survived it.
We have
this
survived this far.
point so far, and we have got a lot of experience now down the road. So come on, and we'll have a conversation about this, and you're not alone. All right?
Take care.
Thank you.
Cheers.